to our podcast, The Celtic Coven.
I'm Cheyenne.
I'm Sage. Grab your cup of tea.
Or a cup of coffee.
And let's get comfy.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. I hope you guys had a great holidays. And
Yes, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
So, it's the new year.
2022.
2022.
That's crazy.
Wild.
I remember in 2016 and we had no problems at all.
Yeah. Well, we still have problems. But the new year is here, and a lot of people come up with New Year's resolutions and things like that.
I never keep up with my New Year's resolutions.
I don't even really bother, making one.
I think a part of it is that, people make, these really big New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
And they're, being all, I want to do this, I want to, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to do, this big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it doesn't happen, then everyone's all oh, no, it doesn't.
Well, yeah, it brings your, confidence down. It disappoints you, if you don't get something done that you wanted to do, which is always fine.
Yeah. I think a part of it, I saw a video that this guy was talking about, New Year's resolution stuff, and, he was saying, write down 10 things you want to get done, 10 things that you want, and then, want to do, and then, pick out the one that you would be happy getting in, 24 hours. The one you want the most.
Yeah.
And then pick that, and then, that's your goal for, the new year or whatever, that's your resolution. And then he's and then write down all the steps that you need to do to get it done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen something like that. I've done that before, where you come up with goals. It's usually a life plan thing that I've seen that for. And you write down what you need.
Break it out.
Yeah, what you need to do to be able to accomplish that. So instead of saying, oh, I want to do this, okay, what do you need to do? What are things that you need to do every day to be able to achieve that goal?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think that's why some things are so hard for me to do, because I have these big goals, and I'm what do I need to do? What are these small things that I need to do to get this big thing done?
Yeah.
But some of the big things that I need to do, I just kind of have to just do it.
Yeah. You've got to push yourself. But that kind of leads us into our first topic of self-care.
Yeah. Which everyone should indulge in self-care.
Yeah.
You need that in your life to be able to be okay.
Right. Well, and you don't even have to be perfect with it. You can learn. There's so many different ways to do things.
Right. And when people hear, I feel like when people hear, self-care, all they, know is, when you hear self-care, you think of, oh, let me put on a face mask. Let me go get my nails done.
Right.
Or let me just, take a quick nap. Something like that. Which, those are good things to do in self-care. And if those, really relax you, then do that.
Right.
But there's many different things that you can do that is self-care.
Anything that makes you happy.
And it's truly anything that you're doing for yourself, for yourself.
Yeah.
That will help you.
Yeah. But, for me, I do think the, face and hair stuff is important, because I do think it is important to take care of yourself.
Right.
You need a healthy skin and prevent acne and
I need to be better at washing my face.
Yeah, I know. Well, me too.
I don't break out that much. like, I don't really break out. I think I only break out really when I'm, like, truly stressing out.
Yep. Same.
Or I mean, I don't know. I just don't break out that much. I got lucky throughout puberty.
Yeah.
That, like, I did not get a face full of pimples. But, like, I've had friends who have gotten face full of pimples. And I'm like, why? It's all your face.
Sometimes it's just the hormones.
And then I'm over here like, 1 pimple, 2 pimple. That's it.
You're very lucky because I get a lot of pimples.
You were terrible through puberty. You had so many pimples.
It wasn't like the worst of the worst. Like I didn't have a full face, but I did have
other people had worse. I feel bad for those people. I so do.
But I think it is important to clean your face, and this year for sure I want to focus on making sure that I'm having like a proper skin routine.
Yeah.
Where I'm actually making sure I'm keeping up with cleaning my face.
I am.
And taking care of it better.
And I've seen videos of girls like showing like their morning routine, and it's a lot of like washing their face, putting like those things under their eyes and stuff, and doing all this stuff to their face. And then like if they wear makeup, they wear makeup. And I'm like, how do you do that every single morning? Because I'm like, I'm over here like I wake up and that's all I want to do. And then I just want to get into my day.
It's just about building like a habit and having structure. I mean, it's kind of basically what it is. Yeah. But if you get used to doing it, then
I mean,
you can do it.
People who wear makeup often, they should have a good face
skin routine. Yeah.
Because wearing all that makeup
all the chemicals
helps. Like, and clean their face after wearing all that makeup helps clean their face and
cleans
gets
their pores,
all of their that foundation or whatever they're wearing off their face.
Yeah.
So and that's understandable.
I want to also work on this year with taking care of my hair.
Yeah.
Because I feel like my hair is like losing volume. It's losing it just doesn't look very healthy. Because, if you're not healthy and you eat really bad and things like that, you're not going to have healthy skin. You're not going to have healthy hair.
No.
That's just what it is. You got to make sure you're feeding yourself right. Yeah. And that's another thing, I want to focus on is cooking at home, making healthy meals.
We need to figure out, recipes to do. Then it'll be very diverse and be like, this week we can do Mexican foods, this week we can do Asian foods, this week we can do whatever we want, you know, and then it will just be different, and it will be healthy foods. I mean, we can still have unhealthy.
I'm starting to feel really bored with food, because I don't know what to make, and then you order out and it's the same few options, and it just feels like there's no food options out there.
And then when you're trying to save money, then you're trying to, pick ones that are cheap. And
those aren't healthy ones.
No. All the cheap ones are not healthy. But then if you want to go out and, have a good meal at, a nice restaurant.
Yeah.
It's expensive. Maybe it's fine by yourself, but if you want to go with someone, if me and you want to go... It's so expensive.
Yeah.
And, we don't have the money for that.
No.
But if, I know groceries are kind of expensive, too, but if we go to, good grocery stores, they have, good deals and stuff like that, then we can get enough food that we can make meals, and we'd be good.
Right.
You know?
What are some self-care things that you do or you want to do better this year with?
I think with some self-care things, I think I need to... I kind of want to meditate.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I need those few minutes of meditation to just, not really think about anything. Just relax, and meditation's kind of different for everyone. So, you could sit there and do nothing, or you could just sit there and think about a certain thing.
Yeah.
And figure it out. But it's like those few, maybe 5, 10, or however long minutes you want that, like, to just relax.
Yeah.
And think about one thing or just think about nothing. Especially if you're having, like, a really stressful week, you know, and having a lot of stuff going on. I think that's what I kind of want to do. I want to kind of meditate at least once a week to just relax.
Have a review.
Yeah.
A review of the week.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, with the meditation thing.
Yeah.
You're going to get me into a subject that I've been thinking about, watching things about, practicing, actually doing it this past year. As much as I could, whenever I remembered to. But is, like, ice baths. Or, because I can't, like, have an ice bath, cold showers.
Yeah.
And that is my meditation. And I know that sounds so crazy. And, like, it is.
But even...
It is.
Well, there's people who actually go into lakes that are frozen.
Yeah.
And those are, like, 30 degrees or even colder.
Oh, it's so cold.
It's so cold. And then when you're in your shower, it doesn't really go any colder than, I think, like 50 degrees. But, like, being around you more, I've done that a few times in the shower where I've just taken my shower in hot water.
Yeah.
And then I've brought it cold.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I can't anymore, and I stop.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not even that cold. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it goes any below, like, 50. I mean, if you guys know the exact number, I don't know exactly what it is. But it's not even that cold.
No. But...
Because if it's outside weather, you're like, this is nice.
But this, like, I've been using this as my meditation time because for me, whenever I'm doing it, well, I put on a song and I have it on loop, and I know anybody around is probably like, oh my gosh, she's playing the same song again. But the song I listen to, for some reason, gives me, like, a serious, inspirational feeling, and I don't know how to explain it, and I can link it in the description if you want. But I listen to that song on repeat. I take my regular shower, you know, whatever, and I take the time to focus on what I want to focus on.
Right.
When I'm taking the cold shower.
Right.
And sometimes when I'm taking the cold shower, I don't think about, in quote, anything at all. Like, I'm not thinking about something specifically, and I'm just focusing on the cold water. And
Right.
sometimes that helps me because my mind is always, like, running and it has so many things going on. And sometimes being able to just focus on the cold water helps relax my mind. Or I use that time, too, in the cold shower to think about a specific thing.
I'm getting cold thinking about the cold shower.
Like, I use it to think about certain things. And with the music going and feeling inspired and the cold shower just, like, hitting me and just being able to think about stuff helps me think more clearly.
Yeah.
It helps me be able to focus on a certain thing and put things in perspective.
Right.
And even not thinking about anything, but, like, cold showers are beneficial to you, and for me it just, like, helps me do something that, like, you don't want to do. And there's studies of, like, what is it called, like a vagus nerve, where before you do something you don't want to do, you have a flinch. And that flinch, you either continue to do the thing that you're hesitant to do, or you stop because of that flinch. And so...
Yeah, that's what I do when I've done the very short cold showers.
Yeah.
I just stop.
You flinch and you're like, no, I don't want to. And so with these cold showers, you train that nerve, that flinch, and you push through. You push through it and you take the cold shower. Because you have to remember the cold shower is temporary.
Yeah. Did you, when you first started doing the cold showers, did you just doing your regular shower with hot water and then, like, how did you start off to doing cold? And, like, how long do you know, like, you stayed in the cold water when you first started?
Okay, so I took my regular shower, and then I just slowly, gradually turned it cold to, like, kind of get used to it. I didn't just go, boom, cold, and die. Because I think if I did that, I would have turned myself off about doing it because I'm like, oh my god, this is so cold. And like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So, like, and I know that's, like, maybe a good way and maybe that will work for somebody, but I knew that I needed to gradually go into it. So I would just turn it cold a little bit more, stand in it, be like, okay, turn it a little cold, turn it more and more, and then after it's pretty much all the way cold before you shut it off, then I would be standing in it. And with knowing how long I'm in it, I've listened to this song so many times, and I know how long the song is, and I know key points in the song. So, usually, like, when I first did it, I would just do it for, like, the last part of the song, like, the last minute. But more recently now, I'm trying to do it for the whole song. The whole song is, like, I think 3 minutes. Essentially, it's 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to just be in the cold water for the whole 3 minutes. But that's how I track it.
I feel like that's so long.
It really isn't. It is, but it isn't. But, like, okay, so,
I mean, if you're like focusing on something else, the 3 minutes will go fast.
It goes by fast. But, like, okay, so I do it to train that nerve and to help push myself to do things that I don't want to do.
Right.
Because that's a big problem with me, with my anxiety that I have, where I overthink things or I scare myself out of doing something because of fear of not knowing what's going to happen and things like that. And so training this nerve, like this flinch, like, I hope it will help me be able to fight that flinch in other situations.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. And it helps. Like, cold showers obviously wake you up and, like, gives you, like, energy. But also, like, it helps with if you got sore muscles. Like, if you go work out and you go take a cold shower, it can help with your sore and aching muscles.
I mean, that's why athletes take ice baths.
Yes.
Like, after games or after,
it helps bring your temperature
before
down.
Stuff or whatever.
Yeah, it helps bring your temperature down. It helps with the aching muscles and things. And every time I take a cold shower, it's so funny when I do it because I'm getting to the point, I'm like, okay, it's so cold, I think I'm done. Like, I feel like I'm done. And then I shut it off. I shut the water off. And I'm staying there. And I have this weird feeling of, I'm sad. I want the water, I want the cold water to come back. Like, I want to keep doing it because, like, I don't know if it's because, like, I'm proud of myself for doing it or it made me feel good. Like, the energy that it gives me, like, it's, like, cleansing me. Yeah. Like, that I want it to be back on and I want to keep doing it. And it makes me want to do it so much more. And, like, I
think you should try to have more time in the cold. Like, if it's making you feel like that, like, you should have more time with it. Like, try to take, like, obviously not, like, right away, just next time you take a shower, try to take full showers in the cold.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. That might help.
Like, get into the shower, then start getting it colder.
Gradually keep getting it colder.
While you're in your shower. And then by the end of your shower, you're at, like, freezing temperature.
Yeah.
Like.
And then stand in that.
Yeah. and then do your thing at the end of your shower.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's funny that I like want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it really inspires me to do it. And I've watched YouTubers like Jonna Jinton. I'll link her YouTube channel in the description. I watch her all the time. She's talked about it. She does it all the time. So she's the main person who really got me into it. And then I started watching other YouTube videos about it, and it just got me like, I want to do this. And so now I'm trying to do it on the 1st of every month. I think that's just kind of cool. Let's just start off the new month with a cold shower, something inspiring to motivate me.
Right.
And then my whole life is surrounded by the moon. So I also take a cold shower every month on the full moon. And I think that's a good cleanser too. And so after every cold shower, I journal. And that leads me into my other self-care thing. Long story short, but long story. That leads me into my other self-care thing. Because after these cold showers, I feel so inspired. I feel so motivated. And I was in there thinking about things and reflecting on stuff. And so now I need to write it down.
Yeah.
So after I take my cold shower, I go into a nice space and I continue to have that song playing just to keep that energy flowing.
And you don't forget.
I don't forget. And I write in my journal, and it's nothing crazy. I write about things that are going on in my life, or maybe things that I want to do, or new things coming up. Whatever is going on, whatever I want to write about. Maybe I'm sad about something. Maybe I'm excited about something. Or maybe I want to come up with some goals, or write things that I'm grateful for. Or like whatever I want to write down. It's nothing specific. But I go in my journal and I write down. And I love journaling a lot, but it's hard for me to do it like every morning because not a lot of things happen every day.
Yeah.
It's all nonchalant stuff. So writing in my journal at the 1st of the month, reflecting on the past couple weeks, and then when I do it on the full moon, I reflect in the past couple weeks or things coming up. And those I think are good markers.
Yeah.
It's been a couple weeks. Things have happened. This happened. Oh, I recently saw this or whatever. And it's a good period of time. And that's been working for me really well.
Yeah.
But I think journaling is really beneficial because one, you can get a lot of, if you are a person who has a lot of things going on in their mind, like getting it out of your head and putting it down on paper and putting it somewhere else really can help you like look over and like see it in a different perspective.
I feel like that could be something I could try to do this year is journal. But a part of me right now, I feel like I feel like I don't have anything to write down. Like, I feel like I would just be, like, sitting there just going,
Well, and that's what my problem was, where I can't write very often because not a lot of things happen.
Right, because I'm, like, I feel like I'm, like, things that are happening in my life right now aren't crazy. And, like, I don't feel like I need to, like, write them down. You know,
well, and I
it's
thought
like,
that
what am I gonna
too.
write? Oh, I went to work today. It was slow.
Well,
like,
I guess you don't write about that. That's why you don't write as frequent, because especially if nothing really changes very often.
Yeah.
But I had that same problem too, where it's like, well, it doesn't seem exciting to me. Well, if you could sit there and say, talk about, oh, today there was a lady and she said something really nice to me and it made me feel happy and whatever, that's all it can be. It's a little thing. It doesn't have to be anything like extremely important, like oh my gosh, I just achieved this crazy goal. I just ran a marathon or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't have to be something crazy. It can be something little. And you can write about, like, you know, for some reason today, I just felt more down than usual.
Yeah.
And I really want to, like, get into that a little bit more. And you
like,
talk
why
about,
did I
like,
feel
why
down?
do I think... And you can write just something basic. And it help you think better. It helps, like, help you process things in your mind better. And journaling, I love writing. And anybody can journal how they want.
Yeah.
They can type it, write it, speak it, videotape. Like, there's so many ways you can, like, journal.
Yeah.
And I like writing because I like the physical aspect of it.
Yeah.
And, like, that helps me spell better. Because there's times where I'm journaling and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to spell this word.
Yeah.
And so I look it up. And, like, writing it down creates muscle memory of how to write the word. So I'm helping myself learn to write better, spell better. And, I don't know, I just feel like doing it on paper helps me a lot.
Yeah.
What about some other things for you?
Well, I wanted to talk about self-care, like, more in, like, the broad sense a little bit.
I just remembered another thing.
What?
About journaling.
Oh, go ahead.
It's just a little thing. Looking back at things you've written. I've recently done that. And I, like, went back a few, like, basically I looked at the first entry that I did in this journal. And looking back on when I started it, it was, like, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And seeing what I wrote, how I wrote, and looking at where I am now and all the things that have happened. Like I read a few more entries in throughout the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back and I was just like, wow, like a lot of things have happened. My perspective on things have changed a little bit. Like I can see growth, and that's very interesting.
Did you used to like write really like small things when you first started?
Well,
or
when I first started, it was when I was moving to Michigan.
Oh, okay.
And then I wrote about that, how I felt about that, things that I was worried about or excited about. And then a few more in, it's like, okay, well, I don't know, you know, I kind of want to go back home. And then, like, oh, it's just moving in. Like, there's just the milestones, because I don't write every day. So it's always, like, a couple weeks or even a couple months after I put something in there. And then it's, like, it's always kind of funny, too, where I would write about something. And it's like, oh, this thing is happening. And then the next entry, because I hadn't written in it for like a couple months, the next entry is, okay, this thing is not happening. Like, it's just like, oh, and oh. And it's like, wow, so much can happen in such little time. Or, I mean, it's been a couple years, so there's been a lot of things that happen. But I think that's another cool thing about journaling, is being able to look back on it.
Yeah.
And remember how you felt in that moment, because you're writing like, oh, this made me sad, this made me happy.
It's almost like you saying that, it almost makes me like remember when like I've like written stupid little things with like my friends, like a couple years ago,
doodles or whatever,
right? Like like little things we used to like notes to each other or something, and you're looking back and like so innocent, like being all like, what is this? What kind of joke was this? I remember this joke.
Yeah.
You know, or be like, I remember when we drew this or whatever. Because I remember going through stuff when I was packing and seeing stuff that me and my friends wrote down or whatever. And I'm like, this is so funny. I'm like, I remember when we were doing this. I'm like, it was so funny. But so I wanna talk about self-care in more of like the broad sense of like things that like you guys can do, and maybe it will give us ideas for like ourselves.
Yeah.
So I was researching stuff about self-care, and there's different types of self-care. There's physical, which is more like working out or eating healthier.
Which I want to do too.
Yeah. There's emotional. There's emotional, where that's like focusing on your emotions and like figuring out why you feel a certain way and helping that. And there's social, where you're kind of setting boundaries for yourself with people, or just if you haven't been able to be around people and other people help you be like happier, then trying to figure out a time to be with those people. And then there's also spiritual, where that goes into like meditation and journaling and stuff. And then there's also just mental, which kind of goes with emotional a little bit, but that's more with like obviously like helping your mind, not even just emotionally, but like
building skills,
like like being creative or all that type of stuff. So I wanted to talk about those.
Okay.
Interrupt me whenever you want.
Okay.
But like one of them, like I feel like I need to, like, if we're kind of going on resolution stuff a little bit too, like I want to be more social. Yeah. Like I used to hang out with friends all the time when I was in high school, and well, not outside of school. We would hang out in school, and I loved hanging out with people, and it made me really happy being able to see friends all the time and like having jokes and hugging and everything, and physical touch is
I miss touching.
Yeah.
Which not in a creepy way, but being able to like just hug your friends.
Right. But because like physical touch between people is very good.
Yeah.
Like
it's very beneficial.
It helps your brain, and it makes you feel better because it releases serotonin and I think also dopamine, which are those good happy chemicals in your brain. So like hanging out with people and being able to hug them, or just like weirdly just hold hands with them, and everything, or just hang on them and being all that, like it helped a lot and it made me feel good. Yeah. And then after like the pandemic and not being able to touch people and not being able to hug people at all, like I feel like that worsened my mental health. Yeah. Because I'm stuck just with nothing and nobody to talk to, nobody to hang out with.
Do you feel isolated?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I feel like that's kind of what I want to do this year, is be able to hang out with those people that used to make me feel good, or even find new friends or new people to hang out with and have good times with, you know. And so that's a good self-care thing, that like if you feel like you can't find time for yourself to just sit in your house or your apartment or whatever by yourself, or you feel very lonely, another way for self-care is hanging out with people. Ask people, hey, do you want to hang out? Like, even just being with those other people will help you. Yeah. And just help those chemicals in your brain.
Yeah, that's something that I want to do more as well, just because I start to feel alone. Yeah. And I'm like,
you feel like cooped up.
Yeah, cooped up. I feel so bored. I feel so lonely.
Right.
And so being able to hang out with friends really, really helps. And you can actually, like, talk to them and open up to them, and maybe they can give you advice with things going on, and you don't always have to deal with things by yourself.
Right. And I think that's what helped me too, was I talked to my friends about things. Like, if there was stuff happening at home, I was able to talk to my friends, and because I couldn't go to therapy, my friends were my therapy, where I could talk about something and they can just sit there and be like, dang, that's rough.
Yeah.
You know? And like, just them knowing that they're there, just listening to me, not even like having them be like, oh, maybe you should do this, or maybe you could try to do this. Just knowing that there's someone there that's listening and understanding helps.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need that to be able to just feel better. Just kind of vent.
Like, work on your mental health. And
Yeah.
that is a big part of it.
Yeah. And another one, another one is like the spiritual one.
Yeah.
Where being a Wiccan is, I love being a Wiccan, and it did help me when I first kind of realized that I was.
Yeah.
And started practicing, because it, like, I'll give you guys an example. A couple years ago, like, I was disassociating and like feeling super anxious all the time, and feeling like sad or exhausted, just feeling very just bleh all the time. And I couldn't stand it. It, like, disassociating and feeling all anxious was terrible. And I started looking at things to help, and like exercising and eating healthy was some things that could help, but was hard for me to do. And then being in a household that was very spiritual and had a lot of crystals was kind of like the resources I had. And so I looked into that, and I started carrying crystals around with me in like a little baggie. It sounds like a Ziploc bag. Like one of like the little like velvet pull bags. And I started carrying, like, picked out crystals that had certain properties to them, and I started carrying those around with me, and trying, like, I have like a clear quartz that's like a really nice, like, it has like a very smooth side to it, and like was rubbing that and carrying those crystals around with me, and it just made me start feeling better. And I stopped disassociating, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, this actually is helping. And ever since then, I've carried crystals around with me every time I leave the house. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, get my phone, got my keys, got my wallet, I've got my crystals. Like, it's just been a part of my routine of when I'm leaving the house. And, like, I never forget them. Like, I keep it with my wallet because I have to bring my wallet everywhere. And I'm just, it just helps. And even just practicing Wicca, doing spells, and just having that a part of my life has helped me a lot. Mm-hmm. Because it's one of those small things that you're doing in your day that just is helping. Like, that's why when and I want to do more too, is plants. Yeah. People with a lot of plants, I feel like it helps with focusing on something really small, because some plants need a lot of care and some plants don't need a lot of care. And so I want to do that more. I want to have a lot of plants to be able to take care of, because it's one of those small little things that just pruning your leaves or watering or repotting a plant is a small thing that, like,
is it like a ritual kind of thing?
A little bit, yeah. Where it's a small thing that you're doing in your day that is just something for a short period of time that's self-care.
It's like a little meditation type thing.
It's a little meditation. And it helps too because you can get, like, vegetables or herbs.
Oh, you can actually get something from it.
Right, you can use those.
Yeah.
And that's what I really want. I want a whole bunch of plants to take care of.
Because,
I mean, like, your body and yourself is like a plant.
Yeah.
You need pruning. You need water.
Yeah.
You need food. You know, like, you need to take care of yourself. And I think taking care of a plant helps. Because I think I've heard things where, or I've, like, read things where, like, having a plant that, like, might need a lot of water, every time you water your plants, you water yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you drink water. And I think that's really good because, like me, there's people who have a hard time drinking water. Yeah. And having something like that will, like, help you drink water. Because if you're watering your plants, right, like, if you're watering your plants, you might as well drink water yourself.
Yeah.
Physical health, working out is so hard to start. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just thinking about working out. It's just, I can't.
Well, you have to start off small, and getting the motivation to do it is probably one of the hardest things. And that's something that my therapist and I have talked about is, where do you get this motivation to do stuff? Why am I'm sitting here focusing so hard. I'm like, how can I get the motivation to do this? Why am I not doing it? I know I need to.
Yeah.
Why can't I do it? And we've talked about how sometimes, a lot of the time, to get motivation, you just have to start.
Yeah, you just have to do it.
To take little steps. Like, okay, if you want to go running.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the first little steps that you can do is the night before, take out what you're going to be running in. And then the next step, you wake up.
Yeah.
You just wake up.
You just wake up.
And then the next step, then you put the clothes on.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next step is go to wherever you're going to run.
Yeah.
And then now you're there. What else are you going to do?
Right.
You're
in workout clothes. You're there. You're at that park or whatever.
And once you get there and you're like, well, I'm here. I'm dressed. Let's do it. And then you run, and that's where you get your motivation. You get the motivation once you start doing the thing.
Right.
And, I mean, you have to have some type of motivation to, like, okay, let's get up. Let's actually do something. You actually have to go somewhere. Like, whether you're going to a park running or going to the gym running, whatever. You've got to go somewhere, and having that little bit of motivation to do that. That's just, like, how much do you want it? How bad do you want to do it?
Yeah. And, I mean, I've heard people, I feel like people who work out all the time always say this and be like, when I work out, I feel good when I'm done. Like,
yes.
I feel very good. And to me, I think it's just because I just don't work out like that. So I know them doing it, and they've done it for a very long time. So I feel like even if I just did, like, toning stuff where I'm doing very simple things doing very simple, small workouts, it'll make me feel good.
Yeah.
But I feel like just going in and just starting doing like, okay, this amount of weight. Now this time we're going to do more weight. Like, I don't think I can do that. I think I'm just going to do very simple, very relaxed workouts. Because I feel like that's what's going to make me feel good. Like, even like yoga. Yeah. I feel like I kind of want to do yoga.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'd be able to do that. And I'd be more flexible.
Yeah.
We used to be so flexible.
I know.
I'm not flexible anymore. I can barely touch my toes. I need a stretch for like a good like minute before I can actually go down and touch my toes.
Yeah, I want to get more flexible too, like, and just be stronger and feel more healthy, and doing simple things like that will help tremendously.
Yes.
And like, I want to go for runs, but I felt like with things that were going on in my life that I was trying to do so many different things at one time, and I was getting too overwhelmed, and I just gave up on everything. Like, I would only focus on one thing, but then everything else in my life that I needed to do fell apart. And so I had to pick and choose what were the biggest things that were the most important. What are the biggest things that I need to do? And so I gave up a lot of my mental health stuff. I gave up on my physical health, and I was solely focusing on school because I was in college. So I'm focusing on schoolwork, trying to get good grades, and I live in my own apartment and I have bills. And currently I'm
two big things that's hard to focus on at the same time.
At the time, I was self-employed, and so I could have whatever schedule I wanted, but that meant I was giving up working because I was focusing on school. And then I stopped focusing on school because I was broke.
Yeah.
And I needed money.
Yeah.
And so then I'm focusing on making money, and now my grades are crap.
Yeah.
Because I'm like hyper focusing on these one things. And those are the two main things I was focusing on. So my mental health was just deteriorating. My physical health, I am literally at the worst physical health point. Like, I don't know how to say it, but like, ever.
Yeah.
I'm at the heaviest weight. Like, I feel so unhealthy. I feel so tired doing things. Like, I'm just not happy with myself. Like, I just feel so weak and gross. And it's
like,
really
you don't want
frustrating.
to feel that.
Yeah, and I don't want to feel that way. And I want to take care of myself. And so I'm having to sacrifice things to make sure that I'm feeling good and I'm taking care of myself first before I try to do other things. I want to take care of my mental health first and my physical health first, and also make money. But actually, like, making money, doing things I enjoy, and not working somewhere that makes me hate life. I actually want to do things like work at a place where I feel happy.
Yeah.
I want to focus on my mental health, and I'm doing that currently and taking steps to figure out a diagnosis and things like that so that I know how to manage it.
Yeah.
I know how to take care of myself.
You're not just confused by your emotions and your brain.
Right.
Like, you want to know why you feel this way and figure out ways to fix it. Well, not fix it. I just, like, help it.
Yeah, well,
and figure out things you can do.
That's a big thing, is trying to take care of my mental health
Yes.
and have a better understanding of how my brain actually works.
Everyone
so I
should
know how,
focus on their mental health.
Yeah, so I know how to go about situations and what is the best way for me to do something when it comes to my physical health and
I want to
working
say
out.
this too. Everyone should go to therapy.
Yes.
Everyone should go to therapy, because even if you feel like you're not depressed, or if you haven't gone through stuff, it's still good to have someone there to just talk to, and then you have them for when something does happen. If something does happen in your life that's so crazy, you have a therapist to go to that already knows you and can help you, instead of just not going to therapy and then having this crazy thing happen and then having to go to therapy. If you already have a therapist, they already know you.
Yeah.
They already know you, and so if something happens, they'd be able to help you by already knowing your brain in a certain way.
Yeah.
And they can help you get coping mechanisms. I want to go back on the social part of...
Oh, yes.
I already forgot. Self-care.
Yeah.
Social part of self-care.
What is the topic about?
Because I was talking about hanging out with friends again, but also a part of that social part is setting boundaries with people.
Oh, yes, boundaries.
And, figuring out your role and how you fit into other people's lives, and getting people out of your life that aren't helpful.
They're toxic.
That they're toxic,
mm-hmm.
and just aren't good for your mental health. Because I feel like everyone at least has one person in their life that they're just so toxic.
And it could be anyone.
It could be literally anyone in your life that could be toxic. And those people, you just kind of need to be like, bye.
You have to create boundaries. And, especially if it is, a family member. I don't want to say, you have to keep family members in your life. But, especially, you should maintain some type of relationship with them because they are their family. If it's your family,
if it's a friend that's being toxic, you can easily just be like,
bye.
I'm not gonna let you be in my life anymore.
Yeah.
Because you're just gonna ruin it. Bye.
Or you're messing with my vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's a family member, it's kind of hard because you kind of need that person in your life, but you need to set those boundaries where you kind of have to say, hey, I'm not going to let you do this stuff to me
Push
anymore.
Me around, tell me what to do,
right.
or assume that I'm going to just drop everything
to do what you want. Be like, I need to focus on myself. I have stuff to do today. I can't focus on you. I need to focus on myself. And setting those boundaries, you need boundaries.
Yeah.
Everyone.
But I feel like that is, I've talked about this with my therapist before, and I need to come up with these myself, but it's hard to come up with boundaries. What are your limits?
Yeah.
And it's a topic that we're talking about a lot, where it's okay, if someone does this, what is your response to that? How do you feel about that? And what can you do to stop that from happening or whatever, creating my boundaries. And it's what would I do? At what point in the past have I done something in a situation where I said, okay, enough is enough? Mm-hmm. Where's that boundary at? And so I'm doing a lot of discovery of what my boundaries are
Yeah.
and what boundaries I could have that will benefit me and make me happier.
Right. And I think, like, boundaries you should put everywhere in your life.
Yeah.
Like,
even on yourself.
Yes. You should have boundaries for yourself. But, like, having boundaries with, like, family members and having boundaries with friends and having boundaries with yourself, even having, like, boundaries with, like, social media.
Oh, yes.
Because there's a big problem with people saying terrible things online and not thinking there's any repercussion with it. But there's other people on that other end and are having such a hard time with it. And people can say anything they want online and be like, okay, like, that was fun. I just did that. But then the other people their mind is just
they're really
going
upset,
crazy now.
It is, yeah.
And with our world being all about being popular and having X amount of followers and X amount of likes, having people comment on stuff, like if you're posting stuff on Instagram and having people be like, you're ugly, or go to work out, you fat, like, whatever, like, that's terrible on your mental health. So you need to have boundaries where you put out what you want on social media, but have boundaries where you know, like shut off your comments if you want.
Yeah, if you're a person who's easily affected by those things. Or you can create restrictions.
Yeah.
Like word restrictions.
But also with that too, I don't think people should be on social media as often as
a lot of people are.
Yeah. But like, I also know, like, some people's careers is social media.
Mm-hmm.
And being off of social media, that's hard to do. Like, you can't just stop.
Yeah.
Because if that's your income, what else are you going to do?
Right.
Like, you have to be on it. And I think a part of it, too, is with that, there's always going to be people who are saying mean stuff. But you need to kind of, like, accept it, because even at that, those people don't matter.
Yeah, like, don't take it personally. They don't actually know who you are.
Right. Like, they're just saying it because they think it's funny.
But I do think,
or they're jealous.
But I do think people really should be more aware of their screen time.
Yeah.
And who you're following. What are the type of people that you're following on Instagram and stuff? What are you looking at every day? Because those things influence you. And that goes into the social thing again. Who are the people that you're hanging out with? Because who you hang out with is what you'll become. Yeah. And so, if you are around a lot of toxic people,
you're going to become
toxic. Because it's going to deteriorate your mental health.
That's your normal. If you're always around people who are degrading other people, you're going to start degrading people yourself. And because you're around that people and you think that's what I'm supposed to do.
Hang around people who you aspire to be.
Yes.
Follow people on your social media who aspires you to be who you want to be. Like, whatever you want in your life, follow those kind of people. And if you see something that comes up, or somebody says something to you that comes up, if it's in person, address it. Mm-hmm. And if they're like, well, that's just how it is, that's how I am, then you need to create boundaries with that person. And if it's on social media, unfollow it. Yeah. You don't block it. You don't need it in your life. You don't need negative stuff. Always try to focus on becoming a better version of yourself.
Yeah. And going off of, like, disconnecting and having less screen time, another thing I want to do, I want to go camping.
Yeah.
I want to camp a lot more. Like, truly, like, down in the dirt, in a tent.
Just reconnect with nature.
Yeah.
It's a very, like, a spiritual journey kind of thing.
Not even, like, just, like, one night or, like 2 nights. I want to go camping for, like, a couple nights.
Yeah.
And just be out in those woods or wherever and just be there.
Yeah. Experience the world, be connected to nature. I mean, with our spirituality, like, that's a very important thing. And living in the cities.
We need to do that.
Living in the cities sucks sometimes because I feel so disconnected from my spirituality.
Right, because even if you just go outside, you hear the birds, and then you hear traffic.
Yeah. Oh my god, I hate it. Because the moments of silence of noise pollution. And hearing birds and the wind and those moments of silence when that's happening, it just feels so refreshing, feels so good.
Uh-huh.
And it warms the soul. And then sirens or something goes off and it's just like, no, everything's gone.
Right. But, like, if you're out in nature and you're camping, you're waking up and all you hear are just birds. And,
it's
that's
fresh air and it's calm. And sometimes you don't have service, so you're not worried about, oh, you gotta check this, you gotta check that, and you could just be there, be present, connect with the world, and, like, human beings are connected to the world. And you have to make sure that you're getting in touch with nature.
Yeah.
And
like, with that, too, what bothers me...
And people think that you need to, like, be down and dirty. Like, some people, like, love to be deep within, like, the earth and, like, seriously get dirty. And I know there's some people who are like, oh, no, that's nasty. You don't need to do all that. But actually take time to, like, breathe in the nice air.
And there's different types of camping that you can do. Like, me personally, I hate people who glamp.
Oh, yeah. Like, okay, I get it, and it's nice, and you could have fun with, like, the camping activities, but, like, it's just, I personally don't like doing that, because I still feel disconnected.
Yeah, like, in a certain way, like, our grandparents have an RV.
Or camper.
Camper. I was like, what's the word am I looking for? They have a camper, and with certain ways, like, yes, a camper's nice.
Yeah.
And if you're doing a certain thing, or you're trying to do a certain thing, a camper's good. But if you're truly trying to camp, get a tent.
Yeah.
Get an air mattress, or just get, like, a very
sleeping
nice,
bag.
Like, you could even just sleep on a sleeping bag.
In
a sleeping bag. and then be good. And, like, get your other little essential things. Because you don't have, like, there's also bushcraft camping.
What the hell is that?
I'll explain. Bushcraft camping is actually, like, building a shelter for yourself.
Oh, okay.
Like, getting wood and making that shelter.
I'm alright with just getting a tent.
And so, like, you could do bushcraft camping, and I kind of want to do that, but that's a lot of work, and that's really, like, making this small little house
living
for
in
yourself.
Survival over there.
Yeah. And I find that, like, super cool. But, like...
I think it would be cool to do it, like, a couple times, but just put up a tent.
Yeah. But, like, even just...
Build a fire.
Because I don't like having, like... Even just, like, sitting on the ground. I hate when, like, bugs crawl on you.
Yeah.
And I'm just all, like, get out of my clothes. So it's, like, having a tent, that's nice. Because you're in the tent. You're not just laying straight on the ground.
Yeah.
You know? But it's still nice. And so, I want to do that. I want to camp more. And, like I said, for a good couple days. Like, be out there for a good couple days. And even...
I want to go camping for, like, a week.
Yes. Yeah. And even at that, you're already out there. Go hike.
Yeah, go hiking.
Go
I
hike.
want to do more outdoor activities. I love outdoor activities.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very out of shape.
Yeah.
And you need to find the time to do it.
Mm-hmm. Like, we need to, like, get a week where we're not doing anything. Like, open a week up to do that.
Yeah.
Because it would be so nice.
I think another good self-care thing is breathing. Learning how to breathe. And I mean, like... okay.
I breathe.
A lot of the time, whenever having anxiety, I always have to, like, okay, breathe, relax for a minute, breathe.
Yes.
So, and I got this book about how to breathe in different situations. And I think it is very, very important to learn how to, like, focus on breathing, because it can calm you down and help you focus on a situation. So I think that is another good self-care thing to practice and learn how to do it. There's different breathing exercises.
Yes.
But I think that's a good thing to know and a good thing to learn. And I don't know a whole lot about it right now, but I want to do some more research and learn more about different breathing exercise techniques. But I think on that note, we should probably end this.
Yes.
I hope everyone had a happy holiday and a happy new year.
I hope everyone got what they wanted for Christmas or Hanukkah or...
Yeah, whatever you celebrate.
Yes.
I hope you had a good time. You got what you wanted.
Everyone practice self-care.
Yes. Please take care of yourself.
Yes.
It has been a very hard couple years. So, be safe. And we will talk to you guys next Saturday.
Yep.
Bye.